This 3D printer is the POSITRON LT, a new edition of the original POSITRON version 3 that was released by Kraylin over a year ago. You've probably seen or heard of this printer through Kraylin's original YouTube channel or from various other YouTubers such as CNC Kitchen and others that attended this year's Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival. For those of you who may not be familiar with the original POSITRON, I've linked his video in the description and I recommend you go check it out. The purpose of this video is to give a quick summary on what sets this new POSITRON design apart from the original. I'll go into more detail in future videos. To get us started, the POSITRON LT is being developed by a 5-person team. The founder and original designer is the Discord user Audiotronics. This printer is more or less in the beta stage. It can be built and it works well, as you can see here, but there are several quirks we're still working out, and upgrades that will become available in the coming weeks and months. For those of you who are familiar with Kraylin's version 3, you'll immediately recognize that there are several differences between the two. The most noticeable probably being that it's made up in large part of 3D printed parts. In fact, this is the most defining characteristic of the LT. It is a Rep Rap edition positron, which means that all the parts can be either 3D printed or readily sourced online. This comes with several major benefits over Kraylin's version 3. The first of these benefits is that the LT is much easier to source parts for and build than its predecessor. The version 3 relied heavily on custom machine components. Just about everything had to be milled on a CNC or laser cut. This means that the version 3 is incredibly difficult to make on your own, or is prohibitively expensive for people that don't have access to proper machinery or the know-how to make the parts themselves. This leads into the second benefit of the LT, which is that the printer is much cheaper. The total cost of the version 3 is probably over $800. The exact cost of my LT, including shipping but excluding filament, was $565. The third benefit of this Rep Rap design is that it is highly customizable. As you can easily tell, this printer is a lot more vibrant than typical version 3s that you'll see online. With the endless variety of colors and styles that are available for 3D printing materials, the LT is much easier to make unique and accommodate your own style and preferences. The fourth benefit worth mentioning is modability. With the original version 3, changing and upgrading the design required machining more parts, making prototyping time-consuming and expensive. This isn't a problem with the LT, where prototyping is as simple as modifying a CAD model and sending it to your 3D printer. This puts developing and modifying the positron in the hands of way more people, and it allows for the printer to be more rapidly developed. Now, these 4 benefits were all things that stem from the printer's Rep Rap characteristic, which, as a recap, includes being easier to source parts for and build, cheaper bill of materials cost, and its high customizability and modability. A second defining characteristic of the LT is that it has an active developing team. I mentioned this earlier. It's a 5-person team as of the release of this video. Similar to the Voron or other 3D printers, we're constantly improving and releasing new versions of the printer and its components. As far as the POSITRON version 3, Kraylin is unfortunately no longer able to continue its development. If you've joined his Discord, you know that he's been missing for several months, and that his previously prolific YouTube account has been dormant for over a year. This means that the POSITRON version 3 no longer has an active developer, at least not one that's openly disclosing their activities. And frankly, the original version 3 has a lot of quirks and flaws that have not been resolved and have persisted for the last year and a half. Many of these flaws present in the version 3 have been fixed or are currently being fixed by the POSITRON LT team. This includes switching from the temperamental and expensive sinker mesh to a traditional GT2 drive belt, fixing a temperamental print head that suffers from frequent clogging due to heat creep, and switching to a Z lead screw design to do away with a more easily tangled Z belt. Projects currently under development include implementing a much more reliable and better performing extruder, doing away with the problematic mag connector, improving reliability with a mechanical instead of an unreliable infrared bed leveling probe, and more. Other things worth noting about this printer is that it is lighter weight, has an integrated PSU, and is made up of far fewer parts than the original. Alright, well that's all I have for today. Once again, this is just a quick overview and introduction of the POSITRON LT, which is currently in its beta stage. I encourage you, if you're interested in building one, to join our Discord, and if you're interested in following the progress of the project, please like and subscribe below. Thank you.